Catalan Dragons 14 in what was an epic, wasn't it? We were right to call this one the game of the week, weren't we? As a neutral, it was sensational rugby league football. How can you not enjoy this great game when you've got matches of this quality? Right, let's get into it. For those of you who watched the game of the week this week, we did say it was going to be interesting who won the Battle of the Packs. As you recall, back in Perpignan, it was advantage to Catalan Dragons, Busquet, McMeekin, and Neverett, 309 metres to St Helens, 249, that being Parsi, Lees and Walmsley. In this one, it was advantage St Helens, 314, played only 209. Walmsley, absolutely colossal, 24 carries for 174 metres, 6 offloads and 6 tackle busts to boot. Walmsley was all over it, even with a naked eye. The amount of carries he went through, really trying to get St Helens on the front foot in this one. He also did his bit in defence as well. I think he got about 20, 21, 22 tackles, something like that. Outstanding performance from Alex Walmsley. And you'd think that, of course, would give him advantage. That would allow the backs to play. But actually, you've got to tip your hat to the defence of the Catalan Dragons. They were unbelievable. Talk about backing up for each other. Saint could have easily gone over a party, of course, a brilliant tackle on a party. I think it was Tyrone May. Outstanding effort in the corner to deny St Helens at that point. In the second half, it really was all one-way traffic. My Lord, did the Catalan Dragons get through some work in this one. A total of 328 tackles in this one. 306 as well, though, for St Helens, it's got to be said. Both of these two teams doing it tough in terms of defence. Big shout-outs to some massive numbers. Morgan Knowles, 44 tackles in this game. Ben Garcia, 43. Whitley, he got 40. McAlum, 38, of course, the man of the match on Sky. Matty Lee's 33 and Mike McMeekin, 32. I mean, they're colossal efforts, especially from the forwards down the middle. You've just got to give them the due. It was outstanding. And this is what I mean. Sometimes it's about flair rugby league. We saw some lovely tries. I mean, fair play to Tom Johnson. I mean, when that ball went across, got to give credit as well to Adam Kieran. Kieran's a great player. Wigan have got a fantastic player there for next season. Lovely ball out to Johnson. Off he goes down the line. There was no catching him. And of course, Mata Cavallo, also he getting his second try against Saints this season. If you remember, he was on debut when they played in Perpignan. He got his first try for Catalan. Only his third of the season last night, and again against St Helens. He enjoys playing Saints, doesn't he? Does Matt Icavalu. Some nice tries as well for St Helens. Lovely little kick through from Lewis Dodd for Percival's try. And of course, Dodd himself. And on that topic, we did say, once to watch Master against Apprentice, didn't we? We said that in Game of the Week. How was Dodd and going to fare against Mitchell Pearce? Well, quite frankly, he schooled Mitchell Pearce. A great performance, this one from Lewis Dodd. Like I said, that grubber kick, his try, 3 tackle busts in this one, a clean break. He also got involved with the tackling as well. 16. Pearce really very defensive in this one. 24 tackles for Mitchell Pearce, but in an attacking way, not really at his game in this one. Very disappointing, actually, if in this one it was Mitchell Pearce. The men in form, Lomax as well. We picked out Lomax and Tom Davies. Davies, of course, had 2 braces in the last 2 games going into this one. Scored a brace against St Helens in Perpignan. Didn't feature on the score sheet last night, but what a sensational night in terms of metres. Only Tom Johnston beat him at 215 metres. 201 in this game for Tom Davies. 20 carries from him. Really, really good indeed. You just got to say it. What I would say about the game, and I'll be interested to get your comments on this as I watched it. I mean, it was a great, great spectacle, but when did it come in that you could be offside once and I'll get you on the second one? We heard that on the mic of Liam Moore, and this is creeping into the game, second time, lads. Well, hang on a minute, let's be honest, the rules are the rules. If they're offside, they're offside. You shouldn't be giving them benefit of the doubt on one and then saying, well, it's the second time I'm going to give you a penalty. I didn't quite understand that. And I've heard that a couple of times this season on the referees' mics, that they're allowing one to go. And then if they do it again on the next play of the ball, he'll call offside. Now, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. If they're offside, they're offside. I think both teams were very guilty of lying on in the play of the ball as well. I think the rucks need to be tidied up in Super League. There's a lot of wrestling going on, a lot of moving off the mark. We're seeing that. Both attackers and defenders. I think defenders are lying on too much. We saw that last night on both sides of the ball. We also saw, a little bit of argy-bargy in terms of pushing and shoving and moving off the mark and not being square and all this kind of stuff. I think we've got to look at that. We do want fast play the balls. We want attacking rugby league, but equally, the rules of the game are the rules of the game. We've got to tidy up these rucks. I mean, it speed the game up if they actually stop the wrestling. I mean, the amount of lying on that went on last night, like I say, both sides of the ball on social media after both supporters complaining about the other side. Well, let me tell you, as a neutral, watching it as a neutral, both teams were guilty of lying on in the play of the ball last night. There's no doubt whatsoever about that. This one will sting Saints a little bit. They've been on a great run of form. Again, we said that on In the Shed. You know, they come into this one absolutely flying. I mean, don't get me wrong, Catalan's form has been pretty good and all. You know, and Catalan will be pleased to get back at it after that surprise defeat against the Huddersfield Giants. And of course, now they get a week off to just recuperate and get some bodies back. Speaking of bodies back, of course, Saints go off now to play Lee Leopards at the Halliwell Jones in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup next weekend. We know they're not going to be able to do it with James Roby. That's a hammer blow. You know, they were saying on Sky about his leadership. I completely and utterly agree with that. No doubt about that. Roby will be missed. That said, it's an opportunity now for Joey Lusic. Of course, a lot of rumours that he might have been going to Parramatta. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Certainly not now that Roby's out for this semi-final. Big opportunity, this one, for Joey Lusic, I have to say, in the semi-final. Of course, Mark Percival as well. Poor tackling technique, came out the line. Did he need to come out the line? I don't think he did. That's a bit disappointing. I think if you're a Saints fan, try to put the big shot on a little bit unnecessary. You know, stay in your defensive line. I just didn't see why that was needed. And of course, he'd come off worse, getting his head knocking off for HIN. He also will miss the semi-final against Lee. That's a big blow. However, let's not worry too much about it. After the game, Makinson expected to return for the semi-final. So too Batchelor, so too Sirenan. So come on, Saints, it's not that bad. A lot of talk about, you know, what they're going to do. A party will just go into the centre for Percival, no doubt about it. They'll probably bring back Makinson on the wing alongside Benetton, and we know that Lusic is there to play perhaps 80 minutes against Lee in the Challenge Cup. That's going to be one not to be missed. But this, again, all about the Catalan Dragons. 4 points clear now of Lee Leopards in Super League, moving themselves further ahead of Saints. Of course, 6 points now ahead of the Saints. Saints still have that game in hand, but it's still a 4 point there. And I have to say, yet again, very impressed with Catalan. You know, they've been the top scorers in Super League this season, but last night they showed their defensive steel, their acumen in defence, and you've got to give them a lot of credit for that. Really quality stuff from Catalan last night in the defensive side of the game. And that makes them a real big proposition now for me for the title this season. I think there's nobody going to catch them for the League Leaders Shield. Lee may have something to say about that, but I do think that the Catalan Dragons now are in the box seat, and rightly so. McNamara, you know, you're doing a tremendous job there. There's a great togetherness in that group, and it was a fantastic game of rugby league, wasn't it? I personally absolutely loved it last night. It was just, you couldn't keep your eyes off it, could you? That's rugby league football. That's why it's the greatest game on earth. That is what it's all about. And even as a neutral, you just get wrapped up in it. It was a sensational game of rugby league. Liam Moore had an absolute mare of a game, but we'll just leave that there. Really poor officiating, I have to say, on the night, but it did not detract for me personally on the spectacle itself. Right, where do these two teams go next? Well, back home in Perpignan now for the Catalan Dragons, and of course, having had a rest as well, you wouldn't want to be Salford Red Devils making that journey, would you? Then they come back to British Shores. They're playing Warrington away, then the Lee Leopards away, and then they've got Wigan at home. So once they get on the other side of Salford, that 3-game window there for the Catalan Dragons, I think, is where the League Leaders Shield is going to be won or lost for them. It's either going to be cemented or it's going to be lost. Warrington away, Lee away, Wigan at home. Massive fixtures then, without question. As for St. Helens, like I say, they'll be licking their wounds, having had 2 wins on the spin. They've lost that one. Next up for them, live on Sky, will be the Leeds Rhinos at home. We know earlier in the season, Leeds beat them 25-24 in what was another thriller. That's one not to be missed. Like I say, that one's going to be live on Sky. Then they go to the Salford Red Devils before. I mean, they've got a good run of fixtures coming up here, St. Helens, by their standards. They've got Hull at home, followed by Castleford away, Wakey away. And even though Wakey are playing well and Castleford are fighting for the lives, you just think that Saints have got too much quality. They'll pick up points, I think, over the period that we're talking about there. But what a game of rugby league. This is why we love the game. Sensational, absolutely sensational. Some of the defence last night was brutal, and I absolutely loved every minute of it. I'm sure you did as well. Come on, get your comments in there. Like, subscribe, share. This is the greatest game on earth, bar none. St. Helens 12, the Catalan Dragons 14. That's the first in the sheds of round 19. We'll see you next time.